On the line with us is our old buddy Lori Wallach, the director of Rethink Trade, part of the American Economic Liberties Project. RethinkTrade.org is the website. Her Twitter handle is Wallach, WALLACHLORI, or Econ Liberties. And Lori, welcome back to the program. This biggest trade vote you've never heard about. Tell me about this.
So we just published a Medium post at Rethink Trade's Medium page, and it lays out how buried in what's supposed to be these China competitiveness bills are a set of really crazy trade proposals that could be very damaging on the Senate side, while the House version of the same bill actually has some really great stuff, Tom, that you and I probably agree on is actually a new way to do trade that could work for people on the planet.
Very interesting. So lay out these differences and where they originated.
So the Senate side bill, let me just step back and say, the two bills, which are right now going to what's called the conference committee, where they're supposed to be reconciled, so this is still fixable, so folks don't get totally depressed, but we got a lot of work to do. So the Senate side bill and the House bill have the same guts, which is it's money to try and reestablish domestic manufacturing of microchips and to try and invest in advanced research to try and make the U.S. more competitive vis-a-vis China. That's in both bills.
Yeah, I heard Bob Menendez talking about that this morning.
Exactly. But, you know, it's like that Dr. Dolittle critter, the push me, pull you. Mm-hmm. The body is one way, but the heads are going in opposite directions. So the Senate bill attached a trade provision to this perfectly fine bill that basically is reviving the whole corporate rigged trade agenda of, you know, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. And it includes new tariff cuts. This is supposed to be the bill on being stronger against China. New tariff cuts for China, 1,400 products, unilaterally. Wow. It includes a waiver of the existing China trade penalties, so you get rid of the penalties that were put in place. It includes a section that would basically give big tech this new boondoggle to attack the best regulatory policies against monopolies, et cetera, around the world. So not only are you helping China, you're actually hurting democracies trying to, you know, build stronger economies by busting up corporate monopolies. The House version.
Hang on just a second. Before you move on to the House version, on the Senate version, where did this kind of language come from? I mean, you know, this has to go through the hands of Chuck Schumer. I thought he was a little more enlightened than this.
Well, it's a story of enormous intrigue. So the underlying bill was chugging towards a vote, and then some of the Republicans in the Senate said, not so fast. And a few things we'd like to add to this bill if you'd like to have the price of admission to getting it voted on. And the thing that's kind of depressing is actually some of the Democrats on the Trade Committee were in on this retrograde stuff. They put together this thing they called the Trade Act of 2021. It could have been like called the Trade Act of 1995 because it's like, you know, really crazy NAFTA, WTO, backwards corporate rigged trade policy. Right. And that got literally slapped on the morning of. So a lot of members of the Senate who are great on trade and have really fought to have this new Biden worker-centered trade agenda end up voting for something that contains all kinds of things they oppose. So in fact, 5 of them sent a letter a couple weeks after the vote saying, we actually prefer the House version of this bill.
Five of the Democrats in the Senate. Wow, that's great.
After they had voted on, after it got glued onto the package.
Right. Okay, so now to the House bill.
So the House bill actually is like something I would fight for as a freestanding bill. It has this amazing fix, Tom, that closes what is called the Amazon loophole. That's this bit in trade law now, in customs law, that allows goods to come in. If their package is under $800 a day, it can come in from China around the ban on Uyghur forced labor with no inspection, no taxes, no tariffs, directly to you if you bought it online. It skips the entire U.S. customs process. The technical term is de minimis, and every day, $800 worth of stuff can go to any consumer with no inspection, no trade enforcement, forced labor goods, banned endangered species goods. None of it is inspected. And this was, remember, like when you come into the country, say you drive over the border from Canada and you get the little form that says, do you have more than $200 of stuff you bought in Canada? Mm-hmm. And then you'd say, no, I do not, or yes, I do. Here's the list. that is this sort of de minimis, the stuff they don't want to bother counting. Well, it got moved to $800, slipped into a bill by, shocker, the express delivery guys at Amazon, and it became this backdoor way to sneak in all these imports, like literally billions of dollars are unaccounted, and it's uninspected.
So so these are, if you buy a product that costs less than $800, then that product can slip through. That's what you're saying.
And you have no idea what you're getting because it's not inspected. So the House bill closes the Amazon loophole and basically says, oh no, we are going to fix this before someone gets killed by a dangerous product. We're not going to support Uyghur forced labor. We're also not going to have maybe $20 billion more of China trade deficit that we don't know about. So it does that. It strengthens labor and environmental standards in one of our main trade programs called the Generalized System of Preference. And Tom, it restores the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program, which is the program that's been around since Kennedy was president, that gives retraining and extra unemployment insurance to workers who've been hurt by trade agreements, lost their jobs. That program is sunsetting at the end of the year, and the dang Senate bill doesn't bother to extend it. So it's not like it stops the problem. For everyone who's getting ground into the dirt, though, it basically gives them some retaining money and some extra unemployment. And so the House bill renews that. Plus, the House bill has all kinds of new rules about tightening trade cheating laws. It has this great new policy of screening outward investment to make sure that U.S. companies aren't using that to outsource really important supply chains that are vital to our national security or to dependability on medicines or communications equipment. Ironically, a bunch of this stuff is bipartisan. It was supported originally and written originally by Republican and Democratic senators. It's not in the Senate bill, but it is in the House bill. And so now the two sides have to work it out. And the question is, are those good things in the House bill, which would actually improve our situation generally and also vis-a-vis China, going to be in? And are all those corporate boondoggles that are in the Senate bill going to come out?
Yeah, and you know, for people who don't understand this process, when the House passes a trade bill and the Senate passes a trade bill, and every word in those two bills is not the same, then it goes to what's called reconciliation, which is where a small group of members of the House and a small group of members of the Senate get together and hammer out the differences and come up with one final piece of legislation that they all agree on, and then that gets essentially resubmitted to the House and Senate for a revote. Am I correct about the resubmission and the revote?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then it goes to the president for signature. So the critical question, I guess, you tell me, is who's in that conference committee?
So this is 108 people on this conference committee because the underlying bills. So like, again, think of like a llama. The body of the llama is one big thing, and a lot of committees have a piece of it, and they're very similar bills. You have to change some words to make them identical, but they're very similar. But then to the llama's body, you attached a llama head going that way, and that's the Senate's retrograde corporate trade bill. And then on the House side, they attached a head going this way. It's a two-headed, going the opposite directions critters.
No, I get it.
And so what we need to make sure, basically, is that Senate stuff, which not only is bad trade policy, but that like big tech boondoggle that's buried in there, which would give these tech firms, it would literally make your tax dollars, my tax dollars, all of our tax dollars, pay a team in the US government whose only job is to work for the big tech companies and try and find, attack, and kill all the best anti-monopoly, consumer privacy, gig economy worker protections worldwide to try and keep there being no oversight to these companies so they can have the wild, wild west abuses.
Wow.
We'd be paying for that.
So
that's not even about trade.
Is there a moving into action here, and we're going to hit a break in just a second, Lori, but with regard to action, are there particular members of the House or Senate that we should be calling, and is there particular language we should share with their staff when they answer the phone?
I think the most important thing right now to do is to make sure that your members of the House and Senate, given literally, a quarter of the entire Congress is in this official conference committee to put the bills together, and everyone's talking about it, call your two senators, call your member of the House. You can very quickly get attached to them, even if you don't know who those people are. Call 202-224-3733. 3121-202-224-3121. That's the capital. Just give your zip code.
Yep.
And then once you're at 1, tell them, send me to my senator, send me to my other senator. And you basically, the message is, do not stick us with this job-killing, privacy-crushing, big tech-loving Senate China bill. We want the House Competes Act. We want the House China bill. Mm-hmm. Do not stick us with the Senate bill. That's the message.
I get it. I get it. Totally. Lori Wallach, the director of Rethink Trade with the American Economic Liberties Project. RethinkTrade.org is the website. Wallach, Lori, or Econ Liberties on Twitter. Lori, always great talking with you. Thank you so much for such a clear explanation of this. Thank you.
Vielen Dank. Sie sind die Beste.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll be back. It's coming up on 7. What did she say?